Kerstin Tschernigg. I'm from the University of Central Lancashire, and we are joined by Peter Gress today from Al Jazeera. What does your daily schedule look like?
We really don't have a daily routine as such. The main thing that we need to do when we get in the office in the mornings is to check the newspapers, call around most of our contacts and stringers who operate right across the region to check the internet for stories in other countries that we're responsible for, so that we know exactly what's happening, exactly what's going on both here and elsewhere.
Is there a particular story that was outstanding from all the other stories that you have covered?
Oh, gosh. That's a really, really difficult question to answer. I mean, it's hard to put my finger on a single story. There are stories that stand out in my mind for all sorts of reasons. The Somalia famine story, the one that we were just talking about live on air, was a really serious story for us. It was a devastating drought. We covered that. I was in Ethiopia in the refugee camps. We were in Dadaab here in Kenya, also in the refugee camps. We went into Somalia itself in Mogadishu and saw the worst of the effects of the drought. And that was pretty tough. That was very, very tough. I mean, physically, professionally, emotionally, it was very difficult to deal with. The story I just mentioned in southern Kordofan, where we were reporting on people that were hiding in caves, that abandoned their villages because the Sudanese army was bombing them from the air and attacking on the ground. And so to protect themselves, they were hiding in caves in the mountains. And that took an enormous amount of time, effort and expense to get there. We weren't really sure what we were going to find in that area once we arrived. We knew that there was a story. We'd heard stories of people living in the caves, but we had no idea really what we would find when we eventually got there. And to really see entire villages, entire communities hiding in these tiny crevasses. When we talk of caves, it's easy to get this impression of these sort of vast caverns. And we're talking about cracks that were barely big enough to fit a child inside, let alone a whole family. And so to see that and to see the effects of that was pretty difficult as well.
What are the advantages of speaking a foreign language, especially in East Africa?
Not required, but it's certainly an advantage. I worked for 5 years in Latin America, so I picked up Spanish, but that's not a huge amount of help here in East Africa.
What made you come to Nairobi?
This is an area that it's a fascinating area. There's always news. If you look at the way African news is developing, it's pretty clear that the centre of gravity for regional news is this area. With areas with ongoing crises in Somalia, in South Sudan, in Eastern Congo, with the political issues and the political and economic significance of Kenya itself, this area really is at the heart of news in Africa. But from a selfish point of view, the reason I love this area is that it's always an adventure. It's a fascinating area politically, economically, socially, but getting out in the field is always an adventure. There's nothing quite like this region.